Ooh, what's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG WTF LOL FTWBRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We're playing as the WWF in the year 2001, booking the Invasion angle, and tonight we will be running Thursday Night Nitro. I guess you can't really call it Thursday Night Nitro since it's being uploaded on a Friday. Yep, I know, sue me. Little bit of a late upload, my apologies. I had to finish putting the booking, and then I also had to motivate myself to record, admittedly. So, you know, sometimes. It's been pretty of a lax day today, I won't lie to you, nerds and geeks. It's going to be a lax night. I don't know why I'm rambling on. I don't have much to talk about. So let's just go ahead and run the show. But before we do, I do have one thing I need to talk about. I'm not going to lie. I may be a little bit worried about this show. Not that I think it's badly booked. In fact, I'm happy with the way it turned out, as I tend to be. I usually don't move on until I am happy with the build. But I noticed, because I deleted some storylines because they needed to be deleted, especially with, if we're going to have, this War Games storyline going on. So, the problem here being is that since I deleted those, we're currently failing our objectives. We're supposed to have like 3 storylines with like a B plus heat. And right now we have 2, which is being I believe it is, I know for a fact it's Ron Simmons and Sabu. And the other one is Edge and Christian. Well, tonight, Ron Simmons and Sabu, spoiler report, is going to be ending. And I don't think, I know War Games can probably get around that B plus thing because it's going to be kind of officially starting tonight since everyone is now considered major in the feud. But I highly doubt some other feuds that are going to be starting tonight are going to get to that B plus heat. So I believe we're going to fail that, and which is most likely going to affect the show. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but now that I got all that rambling out, let's go ahead and start the show, shall we? We have a couple pre-show matches here. To open up the show, we have a 68C+, and a pre-show bout that had decent wrestling, but little heat. Canyon and Hugh Morris going on to defeat Noble and Credible in 5 minutes, 43 seconds when Hugh Morris defeats Credible with the powerbomb. Calm down, Hugh Morris. Of course, Canyon was head and shoulders above everybody else. Hugh Morris with a 66, Canyon with a 75, Credible with a 46, and Jamie Noble with a 52. Holding his own there. We then move on to our next pre-show match, which gets us a solid D with a 42 rating here, and an abysmal pre-show match. The new Molly Holly going over Developmental's Lou Fisto in 5 minutes 52 seconds with the Molly go round. Interesting enough here, Molly and Lou Fisto have great chemistry, and that showed in their performance, so that may be something we have to revisit when we eventually call Miss Fisto up. If we ever do, of course. And that's also, pertaining if that, Ohio Valley Wrestling ever, takes my demand and does women wrestling. Either way, Molly with a 52, Lou Fisto with an 18. Molly, not too shabby there. And then the main event of the pre-show, and a pre-show bout that had decent wrestling, but not much weighing heat. I let the game decide this one, and it went with Eddie Guerrero, which doesn't surprise me to be honest. Eddie Guerrero going over Rob Van Dam in 10 minutes, 7 seconds with the Frog Splash. Battle of Frog Splashes tonight. RVD with a 62, Eddie with a 72, 73 B-. Not too bad from these guys. I imagine we'll probably revisit this match at one point, but RVD didn't make the show. I didn't really have plans for him, but also considered it his punishment. Consider this his punishment too. He lost, even though I didn't make it that way. But that's for showing up high on Raw. And, yeah, nothing else here. Eddie's improving in Rumble. And no, we're not going to do this yet. What we are going to do is open up the show with a 100 A-star rating, perfect rating to open up the show. Nitro opens up with the team captain of Team WCW, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair making his way down to the ring. And, of course, once in the ring, he takes the mic and he says, "Woo! Damn it, I'm excited. I'm excited to lead Team WCW, baby, into war against Vinnie Mac and his team. I'm excited to be a part of the final moments of the WWF, and as well as being one of the main reasons that Vinnie Mac will go out of business. You see, it doesn't matter if I get the pin, because my job is much more important. My job is to pick out 4 other men who will join me at Survivor Series to end WWF once and for all. Oh yeah. And I'm out here tonight to announce Team WCW's first official member. But before he can even introduce his first official member, which, spoiler report, we can see him right there, Steve. Undertaker's music hits, and out comes the Brothers of Destruction. The Undertaker, of course, who is Team WWF's captain, alongside his brother Kane. Speaking of the Undertaker, always passing along tips to his promising protege Mark Jindrak, this time on selling. Moving on with the promo, Taker comes out, Kane's with him, of course, and he says, "Rick, it's good to see you doing better after that spill you took off the stage a couple weeks ago. But me and Kane aren't out here to talk about that. We're out here because if there are a few things we want to get off our chest. First of all, everyone in the damn mama know Chris Benoit is going to be on Team WCW. It's obvious. Second of all, you know what I find funny? I find it funny how all the guys that were with the WWF that decided to jump over to WCW, they're all a bunch of pansies who are afraid to get their asses whipped. And they would rather go to WCW where they aren't respected and they're still being told what to do by McMahon. But that's always been how things are done in WCW. Get popular and over with the crowd and then jump ship over to WCW where all they have to do is sit on the ass and collect a paycheck. Well, I'll be damned if you and the rest of those WCW guys think that you're taking down the WWF. Flair, you better get your ass ready because at War Games it's going to be like the name says. It's going to be war. And then Flair says, "Dead man, first of all, you're not wrong about the Canadian Crippler, baby. Chris Benoit, he will be on Team WCW once he's cleared the return since, well, the dead man likes to fight dirty," coming from the dirtiest player of the game. But second of all, you act like making more money is a bad thing. What's wrong with getting paid more than what you're worth? Scrooge McMahon has always been so stingy with his money. It's like you're making pennies. Why do you think all the top guys left when they got the chance? Because they wanted to be paid what they're worth. Loyalty? I say screw it. You're only loyal to yourself. If McMahon wanted loyalty, then he should have bought it. And you know what? Third of all, I almost forgot to introduce you to the first official member of Team WCW, the Giant. And the Giant was standing there the whole time behind The Undertaker and Kane. Well, maybe not the whole time, but he's been standing there for a little while, maybe. And, of course, they turn around to see the Giant standing there, and the Giant sucker punches Taker with a punch, and that sends him, off his bike, and he's on his bike, so he kind of goes a little, flying off the stage as well. And that's when him and Kane, they start to brawl it out because they're rivals, and then Giant starts to get the upper hand on Kane, and he sends him flying off the stage into The Undertaker, so both of them are now down. And then Rick once again takes the mic, and he says, "Oh, you know what, and one last thing, dead man. Today you should feel honored, because you've pissed me off, and I decided to lace up my boots, because tonight, Giant and I are getting yours and your dumbass brother's asses tonight. Woo!" And, end promo. So, 2 official members have been confirmed for the Team WWF, not exactly confirmed. Actually, I guess that would be 3 official members confirmed for both teams here. Well, not for both teams, but, for one. But, of course, we all know Kane's most likely going to be on Team WWF because Taker's the team captain. It just makes sense. By the way, we're still in Canada. Don't forget, we're going to be in Canada until after Survivor Series, pretty much. But Ric Flair not only kind of confirms that, if Benoit gets his clearance, he'll be on Team WCW, but he reveals that the Giant is also going to be on Team WCW. So it did deserve better commentary. Apparently everybody was weak here. It did get the show off to a strong start. Giant was good, and it starts the storyline officially, even though it kind of should have started, but everybody mostly was on minor in the feud. So either way, good start to the show, as the announcers then hype up that indeed later on tonight in the main event, the Brothers of Destruction will team up to take on Ric Flair and the Giant. We also get another segment with the announcers also saying that tonight Shane McMahon isn't here right now, but he's told me that he's got some important news that he wants to share live in front of the audience tonight. We then go to a 70C plus backstage angle, and we see the WCW Cruiserweight Champion, Billy Kidman. He's alongside his girlfriend, Tori Wilson, and that's when they are approached by Gregory Helms and Molly Holly. And Helms says, well, would you looky here, Molly? If it isn't WCW's it couple, Tori Wilson and the WCW Cruiserweight Champion, Mr. Billy Kidman. And then Kidman steps up and he says, the hell do you want, Helms? Oh, nothing. Just wanted to walk by and give you both a look at WCW's newest it couple, Ms. Molly and myself. And then Kidman goes, you mean the girl you manipulated and tricked into dumping her boyfriend and running off with you? And then Helms goes, you know what? You better watch your mouth, Kidman. I already got the girl I wanted. Now I might want some gold to go along with her. Anytime, anywhere, Kidman responds. And then Helms steps up and says, fine, how about tonight and how about next? Sure, but you know what? It won't be for the title, because that's something you actually have to earn. And then Helms says, you know what? I will. After I beat you tonight. There will be no doubt who's next in line. And it got the crowd hotter. It starts our three-way feud here. You know Spike Dudley's here, so he'll get involved sooner or later, but we'll get to that sooner rather than later. Not in the next match, of course. I'm not going to spoil that. 70C plus, not bad. As we move into the match, we get a 63 C rating here, solid match. And about that had subpar wrestling and little heat, Gregory Helms. Gregory Helms goes over Billy Kidman in 7 minutes 50 seconds by illegally using the ropes for leverage. Good on him there. I would like to imagine he did something else, so I'm going to go ahead and put my own spin on this. But of course, we already know Gregory and Molly have excellent chemistry. That's the main reason why I started teaming them up together. Billy Kidman with a 64, Gregory with a 52. What I'd like to imagine here is at one point, Molly slides in the Cruiserweight title to Helms, and, gets up on the apron. Maybe Tori gets on the apron too, sees them both arguing. That's when Gregory takes advantage of it. Decks Billy with the title belt. Molly maybe takes Tori down or walks away. I don't know. It's over to the point where Gregory can take advantage and get the victory over Billy Kidman and maybe set him up for a Cruiserweight Championship match in the future. We have Shane McMahon arriving in his limo here. Nothing too special except getting us a solid B rating with an 80. We then move on to our Hardcore Championship match. Since we didn't really get to see it on the pay-per-view, I figured I'd give him an official match to end off their feud. We go on to a 78 B rating here. Not a bad match, especially with Sabu in here. Decent bout that didn't have much weight in heat. Ron Simmons going over Sabu in 9 minutes, 52 seconds, of course, making his first defense of the Hardcore Championship. Ron Simmons with a 77 and Sabu with a 58. And, officially ended it. So hopefully that doesn't screw us over. Maybe I shouldn't have ended it, to be honest. I really didn't think that they would keep their momentum going. Oh, that was a bad call on my part. Because that could have saved us, to be honest, if I would have kept them feuding just a little bit longer. We then go to a solid 64 C rating. Why is this still going on if I ended it? I don't know. We have Simmons I didn't feel like writing it out. Nothing too special here. Ron Simmons is looking to put the finishing touch on Sabu. Looking to take him out for good. But that's when ECW's Tommy Dreamer comes, racing down, the heart and soul of ECW. Racing down with like a kendo stick or something. Starts hitting Ron Simmons with it. Simmons flees. And Dreamer kind of just stands there and poses with the Hardcore Championship before, tossing it down to Ron Simmons or whatever it is. I don't know. Pretty much setting himself up as the next contender. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put it up because I'm going to confirm it. Next week on Nitro, we are indeed going to see Ron Simmons defend his Hardcore Championship against Tommy Dreamer. I'm going to go ahead and say it. We'll even just say in the next segment, whatever, after this is over, not WCW. That, it's been confirmed. Ron Simmons will defend the Hardcore Championship against Tommy Dreamer next week on Nitro. Shit like that, Ron Simmons who is the champion, being represented by WCW, or representing WCW, I should say, and Tommy Dreamer representing ECW. Next week on Nitro. Ron Simmons looked good. Dreamer underperformed. That's unfortunate for him. As we then move on to a... Okay. One thing I want to make clear. This was not supposed to be Ric Flair. This was supposed to be Rick Steiner, but my dumbass didn't check all the way, I guess. So I'm stupid. Either way, not who that's supposed to be. Let's move on, though. We then go on to a A-star, 96 rating here. The Steiner Brothers, not Ric Flair, make their way down to the ring. They're proudly carrying the WCW Tag Team Championships because it's not Ric Flair there, it's Rick Steiner. And then once in the ring, Scott takes the mic and he goes, "Alright, look, we want to make one thing clear. You see, this past Monday on Raw, we got to see just how weak the WWF is when one half of their former precious tag team champions, Test, went down after an attack backstage by two big-ass muscular men in black hoodies. You know what? Instead of talking about it, why don't you roll the damn footage, you idiots?" And then that's when the footage plays and we see the whole beatdown again. And then Scott pauses it and he goes, "Damn! I don't know about all you guys, but those guys are ripped. And the one looks like he's got a big bad booty. But there's only one man with a big bad booty, and that's the big bad booty daddy. In other words, let's solve this Scooby-Doo case right here and rip off the mask to reveal that it was us the whole time. It was me and my jacked brother Rick. We took out those damn disgraces to the tag division and showed all of yous just who the better tag champions were." Let's move on to continue on with the promo here. Hold on. That's when DDP's theme song hits and out comes the WCW People's Champion. And Scott says, "Paige, what the hell do you want? And why do you have that dumbass creepy smile on your face?" And then Paige responds, "Well, you see, Scott, I just couldn't help myself to backstage. You kind of make me laugh, and I just want to come out here and see it live because, buddy, this is so you, Scotty. Alright, for one, the hell you talking about? And two, if you ever call me Scotty again, I promise you, buddy, I'll send you to the hospital." And then Dynamite Dallas Page steps back up and he says, It's just you, coming out here and fessing up to your crimes like we didn't know it was you already, you big dummy. I mean, who else wears two sizes smaller to make themselves look jacked? And who else has such a low insecurity that they have to attack two men from behind, may I add, just to prove their dominance? Scott, your ego's so big your body doesn't know where to put it, so I'll let you just spit out some of the stupidest and funniest things said on live TV. So pat you on yourself on the back there. And then Scott just says, "Shut your mouth, Paige. In fact, I'm tired of talking. You want to talk crap? Well, why don't you come back up then? Because I'm about to beat the crap out of you." And then Paige says, "Oh, if it's a fight you want, what if it's a fight you'll get, Scotty? Just don't be embarrassed when I beat your ass." And then Paige tosses the mic down, rushes for the ring, and we have an impromptu match between Diamond Dallas Page and Scott Steiner, two people who can't stand each other, in real life, I may add. Scott Steiner did a masterful job improvising with the crowd, but DDP struggled going off script. What a shame. Steiner looking good, though. We move on to said match, which gets a solid B rating with a 79 here, and a superb match. Diamond Dallas Page does get to go over Scott Steiner in 10 minutes, 23 seconds with the Diamond Cutter. After Scott Steiner was distracted by Chavo Guerrero. I bet you guys are wondering what I'm going with here. So during the match, you know, of course, Rick Steiner's there with him and all. But, you know, it's back and forth. We're having a good match here. And at one point, maybe Scott Steiner's got the Steiner recliner locked in on DDP. And he spots with his little eye Chavo Guerrero jump the barricade real quick and steal both the WCW Tag Team Championships and go running off in the crowd. And that's when Scott's all like, "What the?" And he's all screaming at Rick, "Go chase Chavo," and all that. And Rick's going to chase after Chavo. And then, of course, Scott was a little distracted. So DDP recovers, turns him around, hits the Diamond Cutter. 1, 2, 3. goes over Scott Steiner. Steiner is getting better at his gimmick. DDP officially, using the mannerisms at a face turn. DDP with an 84, Scott with an 89. Not a bad match, guys. Just a quick little free segment with the Steiner Brothers. Just searching for Rick's searching for Chavo after he stole the WCW Tag Team titles, and then I'd imagine they run into a backstage worker, and they're all like picking him up. Did you see Chavo? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, where'd he go? And he's like, he got in a car and he just drove off. Some lowrider. And then they're all like, what do you mean he just drove off? And he's like, he just drove off. And they're just kind of flipping out and all that because Chavo Guerrero got away with their tag titles and a lowrider. Oh, you freaking idiot. It better be after this. If I messed up, and that's the main event, I'm going to have to restart this entire recording, so let's hope I don't have to do that. Either way, in a segment that's in the wrong place, I'm just making all sorts of mess-ups here today. Ric Flair instead of Rick Steiner, and now Lance Storm and Kurt going on before without any real reasoning. Either way, we have a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Kurt Angle going over Lance Storm in 10 minutes, 3 seconds with the Angle Slam. Kurt Angle with an 88, Lance Storm with a 79, a solid B rating with an 82 here. Good on them. And at least I put this right here, so this was supposed to be before it. Let's just imagine it is because I'm an idiot. We have a segment with an 88 B+, as Kurt Angle's music hits, and out comes the Olympic gold medalist. He makes his way down to the ring, and then once in the ring he takes the mic and he says, believe it or not, I used to be a welcome member in the WCW locker room. That was until, of course, Ric Flair played me like a fool and embarrassed me in front of the whole world. Now, admittedly, I've let myself get distracted with these issues, with Stacy and Chuck Palumbo, but now that that's over, and we can move past it, it's time to focus on the real issues at hand. Ric Flair, and more importantly, WCW as a whole. Now, I haven't been selected to be a part of Team WWF at Survivor Series, but I would be honored to go to war with a man who has always believed in me, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Now, with that being said, here's a message to every member of the WCW locker room. A broken freaking neck couldn't stop me from winning these Olympic gold medals. What makes you think a little embarrassment is going to hurt Kurt Angle? I'm Kurt freaking Angle, and I will get... Hold on. Oh, wait, no, I don't think I actually continued this promo. I think I just was going to do the quick little thing. So he's going to, my much well-deserved, vengeance pretty much. And that's when Lance Storm comes out and talks some crap on Kurt. Kurt challenges him or something. Lance agrees. We set up the match. There you have it. Kurt versus Lance we just saw a couple seconds ago. Lance Storm was very underwhelming, unfortunately, but that's okay. We then just go to a backstage segment where we see Taker and Kane taping up their wrist and just warming up before the match as we're getting ready for our main event. Solid 77B from the Brothers of Destruction. We move on to the main event, which gets a solid B rating with an 80 and an exceptional match. The Brothers of Destruction go on to defeat Ric Flair and the Giant after the Giant was disqualified while fighting The Undertaker. Whatever that means. But match is thrown out pretty much when Flair and the Giant, the dirtiest player in the game, and I guess the dirtiest giant in the game, using some underhanded tactics and get caught and get DQ'd. Not enough selling here, but 90s all around here. Kane with a 93, Taker with a 99 with the performance of the night, Giant with a 90, and Ric Flair with a 91. It did lose heat for the War Games, though, so that's unfortunate. Flair's also improving in Rumble, so there you have that. We then go to a star 100 again, so this will gain us heat. And Flair and Giant just continue to beat down on The Undertaker and Kane with weapons and all sorts of, fun stuff. Giant looked good, Flair's getting better at his gimmick, and Taker was a real star at getting beat up. So there you have it. Fun stuff from there, but we end off the night with an A-star 98 rating as Shane McMahon's music hits. And out comes the owner of WCW alongside, of course, the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, Booker T. Once in the ring, Shane takes the mic and he says, What's up, British Columbia? It's been one hell of a show tonight, but I promise I'm about to send you home buzzing even more, because I've got some huge news for all of you tonight. You see, just in case you missed Raw, and in all honesty, I wouldn't blame you for skipping it, but anyway, in case you missed Raw, then you missed the announcement that at Survivor Series, it'll be Team WCW, led by WCW legend Ric Flair, battling Team WWF, led by The Undertaker. And well, we all just saw how well that worked out a few minutes ago, but I digress. It'll be Team WWF versus Team WCW in War Games at Survivor Series. If, and that's a big if, Team WWF wins, then it's time for WCW to pack their bags because we're done for sure. But when Team WCW wins, then we will be one step closer to the main event of my dad's greatest creation, WrestleMania. Because when we win, WCW will be in the Royal Rumble. But I'm taking a huge risk by putting it all on the line, which is why I've got another proposition for you, Dad. And I know you're watching. We all know Nitro's always been one of your favorite shows. Hell, I remember you watching it back when Raw was on sometimes. But anyway, I propose that not only do we settle this war inside War Games, but we let this war take over practically the entirety of Survivor Series. I propose that every title, from the WCW Cruiserweight title, the WWF Women's title, the Tag Belts, the Intercontinental, the US, the Canadian, and yes, even the World titles, be defended against a rep from the opposite company of the current holder of that title. Let's raise the risk a bit, shall we? I mean, we're already putting my company on the line. Well, why don't we put all the gold on the line, Dad? Are you willing to put me out of business when I could quite possibly walk away with every title from both companies, including your precious WWF Championship? It's now your turn, Dad, and I know I personally will be looking forward to hearing your response on Raw next week, as I'm sure all of you are as well. Good night, everyone, and thanks for a good show. We'll see you next week. And that ends off the show, as Shane ends off Nitro proposing a huge proposition to McMahon, as he says, let's put every title on the line against an opposite holder. So, of course, someone like Booker T will defend against someone from the WWF, so on and so forth, even for people that are holding opposite titles. So let's say, who's holding an I guess Ron Simmons would be the first one I can think of, or Lance Storm, or Edge. Any of them, they're going to have a rep in there. I guess not Edge, sorry, Christian's now the United States Champion. Almost forgot that. Shane McMahon struggling to go off script. Come on, Shane, you want to go off script. So we end off the show, and wow, to my surprise, I guess we have enough heat to our feuds. You won't hear me complaining, as we get a solid A rating with a 90. Good on us, increasing our popularity in 8 regions. I gotta check that out. What feud? Got a decision though. Uh-oh. So we got the top news headline, whatever you want to call it. Junji Harada apparently going to be staying with New Japan, and apparently, even though he's injured, is still the best high flyer. Good on you, Rey Mysterio. I almost called him Raven. Xbox returned. Ric Flair says Chavo doesn't connect with the fans, and Scott says Just Incredible doesn't connect with the fans. As for our decisions, uh-oh. Rob Van Dam, are you getting high? Rob. I'm going to have to fine you. He's happy he got fined. All right, man. Rob, you got to stop this, man. I'm getting tired of this. He's starting to irritate me. Stop getting high all the time, bro. Stop. Stop. Xbox back. But you already knew that. Yo, you're dealing with the X Factor. Either way. I want to check out the storylines before I end this off. What? We're failing it. And we may incur penalties, it says. So we didn't somehow. I guess because it was such a good show? I'm not entirely sure. Either way, that's some spoiler reports for you guys, but whatever. You're not going to hear me complain. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor, leave me a comment, like, and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, my name has been OMG WTF LOL FTWBRB, and I will see you guys for everyone's favorite show on Sunday Night Heat. But for those of you who haven't discovered just how great Heat is, I'll see you from Monday Night Raw. So until then, have a good one.